Let me ask you something real. Have you ever been around someone who just drains you? Like, your day was going just fine, you were in a good mood, maybe even feeling productive. Then that one person shows up, and suddenly it's like the air gets heavy. You feel irritated or even low for no clear reason. It's like your vibe just took a nosedive. Sound familiar? We all know someone like that. They don't walk in with red flags waving over their heads. They seem normal, even nice sometimes. But if you spend enough time with them, you start noticing a pattern. Your peace of mind slips. Your confidence takes small hits. You start second-guessing your goals, your choices, even your worth. And the worst part? A lot of times you don't even realize it's happening. Not until you're already drained and wondering what changed. That's what this video is about. Not toxic movie villains or obvious troublemakers, but the low-key, quiet types who slowly chip away at your mental and emotional well-being. So today, we're going to talk about the kind of person you need to be careful around, because walking away from the wrong people doesn't make you a bad person. It means you're paying attention. Let's get into it. 1. The chronic complainer. You know the type. They complain about everything. The weather's too hot, their boss is awful, their food wasn't seasoned right, and somehow even good news turns into a story about how life is unfair. Give them free lunch, and they'll still find a reason to moan that maybe the plate was too round. At first, you feel sorry for them. You want to help, so you listen. You try to cheer them up. You even give them advice. But after hearing "nothing ever goes right for me" over and over, while they ignore every suggestion, you start to feel like you're stuck on a sinking boat. And they're the one hugging the anchor. So, why should you be careful around them? Because negativity rubs off. Spend enough time with someone who constantly sees the worst in everything, and you'll start to see things through that same lens. Suddenly, your energy drops. Your excitement for life gets dimmed. Even the things you used to love start to feel like a chore. And before you know it, you're dragging your feet through the day asking, what's the point? You can care about someone and still protect yourself. It's not cruel to set boundaries. It's smart. You can be kind without letting their storm drown your sunshine. Offer support if you can, but don't let them drag you down with them. Your peace matters too. 2. The one-upper. These people will wear you out. No matter what you say, they've already done it, and somehow they've done it better. You say, "Hey, I finally started waking up at 6 a.m. to work out." They go, "Oh, I've been doing that since I was a teenager, and after that, I meditate for 2 hours and run a charity." You tell them, "I got a promotion." They shrug and say, "Cool, I've had 3 job offers this month." Now, don't get me wrong, confidence is great. We love seeing people proud of themselves, but this isn't confidence. This is insecurity wearing a costume. One-uppers don't celebrate with you. They compete with you. And somehow they always have a story that tops yours. Even if it's your birthday, they'll find a way to make the day about them. Why should you be careful around them? Because little by little, they can mess with your self-esteem. You start questioning your achievements. That thing you were so proud of suddenly feels small. Not because it is, but because they made you feel like it doesn't measure up. But here's the truth. Your wins are valid. Your growth is worth celebrating. You don't need to outshine anyone or keep up with someone who treats life like a competition. You're on your own journey, and that's enough. Don't let someone else's ego shrink your light. Keep shining, your progress is real, and it matters. 3. The master manipulator. This one's a little tricky. They don't walk around with a big red flag that says, "Hey, I'm here to mess with your head." In fact, they usually come off as sweet, charming, even thoughtful in the beginning. They know how to smile at the right time, say the right things, and make you feel special. But as time goes on, you start to notice a few things that just don't sit right. They twist your words during arguments. They guilt-trip you when you set boundaries. They use your kindness not as something to appreciate, but as a tool to get what they want. And the worst part? When you try to speak up or call them out, they flip the script. Suddenly, you're the problem. You're too sensitive. I was only joking. Relax. Don't be so dramatic. If those lines sound familiar, you're not imagining things. This is why you need to be careful. Manipulators don't always shout. They whisper. They get in your head. They make you doubt your own feelings and choices. Over time, you start second-guessing yourself and relying on them for approval or direction. That's when they start calling the shots in your life, quietly but completely. Healthy relationships don't make you feel small or confused. Real love and friendship won't make you question your worth, so trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. You deserve honesty, not mind games. 4. The gossip. Ah, yes. The human news channel who always has the scoop, whether it's true or not. They know who just got dumped, who got fired, who's pregnant, who gained weight, and who's secretly dating their ex. They always claim to have the real story, even though it never seems to come from the people actually involved. At first, it feels harmless, even entertaining. But after a while, you start noticing something strange. This person never really shares anything about themselves. Their life is off limits. And then it hits you. If they talk this much about everyone else, what do they say about you when you're not around? Spoiler alert, if they gossip to you, they'll gossip about you. Gossip is more damaging than it seems. It eats away at trust and turns friendships into ticking time bombs. It ruins reputations, spreads misinformation, and creates unnecessary drama. Worst of all, it wastes energy that could be spent on meaningful conversations, personal growth, or even just enjoying the moment. So why beware of the gossip? Because they aren't just sharing stories, they're shaping how you see people, often in the worst light. And that kind of influence isn't harmless. You deserve relationships built on honesty, not hearsay. Surround yourself with people who talk about ideas, dreams, goals, and real-life challenges, not just the latest scandal. There's enough noise in the world already. Don't let gossip be the soundtrack of your life. 5. The victim in every story. Life throws challenges at all of us. We all mess up sometimes. But this kind of person, they never take responsibility for a thing. Every breakup, every job they didn't get, every fight, they blame someone else. Always someone else's fault. They're never wrong, ever. At least, that's what they want you to believe. If they don't land a job, it's because the interviewer was jealous or unfair. If a friend stops talking, it's because people are fake. And if they get caught lying, well, they were just misunderstood. It's never their fault. Why should you be careful around people like this? Because they live in a bubble where growing or learning from mistakes doesn't happen. And if you hang around them too long, you might start making excuses for yourself, blaming everything but your own choices. Real strength comes from owning your mistakes. It's about learning, growing, and moving forward. Playing the victim might get sympathy or attention, but it won't help anyone change or get better. So look out for those who refuse to see their own role in things. They might drag you down, even if they don't mean to. Growth starts with honesty, and sometimes that means being honest with yourself, even when it's hard. 6. The friend who only calls when they need something. You've seen this before. They disappear for weeks, sometimes even months, without a word. Then suddenly, out of the blue, they pop back into your life with a message like, "Hey, long time no talk. Can you do me a huge favor?" It's a classic move. At first, you might feel guilty saying no. After all, they seem to need help all the time, and maybe you want to be there for them. But if you take a closer look, you'll notice the pattern. It's one-sided. They only reach out when they want something. There's no asking how you're doing, no real interest in your life, no offer of support, just favors. That's not friendship. That's convenient. Why should you be careful around this type? Because you deserve relationships where support goes both ways, where people show up not just when it suits them, but also when you need them. It's great to help others, don't get me wrong. But being used? That's a whole different story. Friendship should feel balanced, like a team, not a one-way street. So trust yourself to spot the difference. You're worth more than a favor machine. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care, not just those who only come around when it's time to ask for something. 7. The dream killer. This one stings the most because it usually comes from the people closest to you, family, old friends, people you've trusted for years. You open up about your dreams, your plans, the big things you want to do, and instead of support, you get doubts. That's not realistic. Aren't you a bit too old for that now? People like us don't do things like that. They might not mean to crush your spirit. In their minds, maybe they think they're being honest or trying to protect you from failure. But the truth is, a lot of it comes from fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of trying and not making it. And sometimes, that fear gets passed on, disguised as advice. The danger is, if you're not careful, you start believing them. You shrink your goals, you play it safe, and slowly, you lose the fire that once made you excited. Don't let that happen. Their doubt isn't about you. It's about them, what they didn't do, what they were too afraid to try. Your courage makes them uncomfortable. So guard your dreams. Share them with people who lift you up, not those who pull you back down. You deserve support that believes in you, even when the goal is big. 8. The always angry one. You know the type, everything sets them off. Traffic, slow Wi-Fi, someone chewing too loud next to them. They're always one step away from snapping, and you never know what's going to trigger it. Being around them feels like walking on eggshells. You watch your words. You hold back your thoughts. You try to keep the peace. But no matter how careful you are, it's only a matter of time before they explode. And guess who's left dealing with the fallout? You. Here's the truth. Being on edge all the time isn't normal. Feeling anxious around someone who's supposed to care about you? That's not okay. Sure, anger is a part of being human. We all get upset. But when it becomes their default setting, when anger is how they show up every day, it stops being just a mood and starts becoming harmful. You're not there to absorb someone else's emotions or tiptoe around their temper. You're a person with feelings, too. There's a big difference between someone having a rough day and someone who is having a rough day every day. Protect your peace. You deserve to feel safe and respected, not scared and silenced. 9. The fake supporter. This one's a little harder to spot. They seem supportive on the surface. They'll say all the right words. I'm happy for you. That's amazing. But something feels off. Their smile feels a little forced. They congratulate you, then quickly change the subject or shift the attention back to themselves. These are the folks who act like they're in your corner, but deep down, they don't want you getting too far ahead. They clap for you when others are watching, but behind closed doors, it's a different story. They're quietly keeping score, secretly hoping you don't win too much. Why should you be careful around them? Because fake support can be more confusing and damaging than open hate. At least with someone who's honest about not liking you, you know where you stand. With this type, you're left second-guessing everything, your wins, your worth, even your instincts. It's okay to love people from a distance. You don't have to keep anyone close just because they've been around. Pay attention to how people make you feel, not just what they say. Real support feels safe, warm, and consistent. If it feels off, it probably is. Trust your gut. It's usually right. 10. The person who makes you feel small. Have you ever noticed that around certain people you start to shrink? Not because you want to, but because something about the way they treat you makes you feel like you're not quite enough. Like who you are is somehow too much or not good enough, so you start holding back. Maybe they always correct you in front of others, as if they're trying to catch you slipping. Or they take subtle jabs at your weight, your goals, your dreams, then brush it off with, "Relax, I'm just teasing." But it doesn't feel like a joke. Not really. Maybe they sigh or roll their eyes when you speak. Or they interrupt you, talk over you, ignore you altogether. like your words don't carry any weight, like your thoughts, your feelings, your presence is something they have to tolerate. And over time, without meaning to, you begin to question yourself. You wonder, am I being too sensitive, too loud, too quiet, too much, or maybe just not enough? That's why it's so important to pay attention, because the people closest to you are supposed to feel like home, like a safe space. Real friends don't make you feel small to make themselves feel bigger. Real partners don't silence you. They don't roll their eyes when you speak. They lean in. They make space for your voice, your dreams, your weirdness, your softness, your strength. Life already comes with its fair share of pressure, from work, from the world, from within. The last thing you need is someone in your corner who chips away at your self-worth. Protect your peace. You don't need to shrink to fit in. You don't need to dim your light to be loved. The right people will never ask you to. Final thoughts. Let's be real. None of us are perfect. Everyone has off days. And if we're being honest, most of us have probably acted like one of these people at some point. That doesn't make us bad. It makes us human. This isn't about pointing fingers. It's about being aware so we can grow and do better. Because once you know better, you get to choose better. Life's too short to keep people around who drain your energy or make you question your worth. You deserve to be surrounded by folks who bring peace, growth, and joy into your life. So be intentional with who you let close. Look for people who are kind, honest, loyal, and willing to hold themselves, and you, accountable. Ask yourself, who really has your back? Who cheers for you when no one else is looking? Who tells you the truth with love, even when it's hard to hear? Those are your people. As for the rest, it might be time to step back, protect your space, and move forward with the ones who truly care about you. Your peace of mind, your goals, your future, they're worth guarding. And you don't need a crowd, just a few good ones who show up with love and respect.